Gentlemen, I'm here just to provide a brief overview of some of the key events that happened over this Bermuda holiday day weekend. Can I just ask you in advance to ask any questions at the end? Just let my trend of thoughts go through. And I also recognize that there may be a number of questions regarding the tragic death on Horseshoe Bay on Bermuda Day. However, if you recognize someone's now been charged, so it's limited what I can say about that. So just if you're going to ask me questions, remember, gear your questions towards nothing that's going to impact a pending trial that's going to be coming up. So the first incident is that I want to talk about. I begin this afternoon, of course, by expressing sincere condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of 20-year-old J. Jones, whose life was tragically cut short on Bermuda Day, the 24th of May, last week Friday. As previously reported in local media, about 3:15 p.m. on Friday, 24th of May, police responded to a report of a group of men fighting on Horseshoe Bay Beach in Southampton Parish. On arrival, they observed the victim, 20-year-old J. Jones, being treated by persons at the scene before being conveyed away to the hospital by EMTs in the ambulance, where he was pronounced dead sometime later, an hour or two later. Police commenced a full investigation, and they arrested two men relatively early after that tragic murder. As you would have seen earlier today, an 18-year-old man was charged before the courts this morning for suspicion of causing Mr. Jones's death. I take this opportunity to thank all of those persons who have thus far come forward and provided police with statements, footage, other information. However, police are still seeking to speak with additional persons who we are aware that were at the beach who have yet to make contact with us. Additionally, we made an appeal earlier over the weekend for persons in possession of video footage. Of course, because of the sensitivity of the matter, of course, it can impact the case in the future not to share that information. If they have that information, make contact with the police or the investigating officer so we can give some instructions of how we can get that information from you. So anybody with any information, whether they believe to be important or not, is asked to make contact with Acting Inspector Anika Donawa on 717-2250 or email her at adonawa@bps.bm or by calling the 211 police line. Alternatively, you can speak to a police officer you know. And if you're not comfortable speaking with the police, there's also Crime Stoppers, 800-8477. The next incident I want to refer to was the stabbing on Front Street, which also got lots of local press and speaking around the streets and homes of Bermuda. So around 7:54 a.m., police responded to a report of a stabbing on Front Street near Pier 6. A 22-year-old male was injured. He received a non-life-threatening stab wound to his face. On scene, police officers received information that there was a dispute between him and a female who had left the scene on our arrival. He was conveyed to the hospital as well by ambulance. He was treated and released. This investigation continues. Anyone with information are asked to contact Police Detective Sergeant Seymour Foote at telephone number 717-2282 or email him at sfoote@bps.bm. And like I said previously, we also have the 211 police line. And if you're not comfortable speaking with the police, there's also the confidential Crime Stoppers hotline. Another matter that I want to speak about that was not reported in the media, however, the questions I can ask and answer in relation to this are limited. So on Friday night, we recovered a firearm. So around shortly after 11 p.m. Thursday, the day before the holiday, officers were on patrol in the Cambridge Beaches, Sandy's area, when they observed a group of men who moved off when the police came by. The officers searched the general area where the young man moved away from, and they found a firearm among some other items. So that firearm currently is being forensically tested, and it's also being test fired just to establish if it's an operational firearm, and of course we'll obviously add some ballistic testing to that to see if it's been involved in any of our crimes of late. If anyone has any information on that as well, we could ask them to make contact with the police or the Crime Stoppers hotline. And the last incident I wanted to refer to was the major damage collision that occurred on North Shore. The morning of the holiday, we had two trucks, one traveling east, one traveling west along North Shore Road near Stephanie Lane in Pembroke. Initial reports was that the water truck driver was trapped, so he was obviously quite concerned from that. He was obviously helped out of the truck. Both parties were eventually conveyed to the hospital, minor injuries. They were released. Both vehicles received major damage. The scene was closed periodically, and it was opened a short time later. So basically, in closing, just an overview of the weekend. There were 19 arrests, including 5 for impaired driving. There were also 3 other incidents that you may not be aware of where bladed articles were used in fights. 2 persons went to the hospital out of those 3 incidents for minor injuries, were treated and released. Since 2020, there have been 84 incidents reported to police involving bladed instruments, with 87 resulting in injury. In 2023 alone, there have been 25. And it's been 16 so far this year in 2024, and we haven't even reached the end of May. So if we continue on this trajectory, as you would see, that we would supersede last year's 25. So far this year, we've arrested 31 persons. And in 2024, we arrested 58 persons in relation to bladed articles. This is not new to Bermuda. It's not a new phenomenon. And if this doesn't stop or active steps are not taken to arrest this type of behavior, this can reach epidemic proportions. So we need to take some action. So please continue to take steps in an effort to reduce bladed article incidents, whether exercising our legislative powers, whether that be stop and search, 315F to prevent the criminal code to prevent violence on the pace. Obviously, we have some powers of stop and search as well. Providing education and awareness to our local communities, increasing patrols and targeted in areas. We often do that. And what is certain, we cannot do it alone. And the need of the support of the entire community and all our key stakeholders is paramount. One piece of advice I would like to give persons carrying bladed articles they think of for protection, first of all, it's unlawful. And secondly, if you're carrying around a bladed article and you are involved in some type of confrontation, you're more likely to use it. So you should find other ways to protect yourself, like maybe staying home or avoiding those areas where there are problems. So I'm open for any questions. No.
Yes, sir. Travel Entertainment News. Mm-hmm. What is the required law for that bladed article, especially the length of the blade? Is it still 3 inches?
The legislation hasn't changed.
Okay.
In terms of some of the sentence and regulations, they haven't changed either. However, as you would note, over this particular period, there haven't been multiple persons that have been meted out the full letter of the law. The other big problem that we're having with that is often with these bladed article incidents, the victims are tending not to make formal reports. So we have to. So for example, if it happens in a public place or the like, the police sometimes try to take a learned prosecution against the person, but it's quite difficult, you can imagine, if there is no witnesses, no CCTV and the like.
The circulating videos indicate at least 3 individuals had bladed articles up at the Horseshoe Bay, are police pursuing the other individuals?
Yes. In short, yes.
What can we as a community and assistant police, especially at at Horseshoe Bay, there's been last summer, now last summer it was a 16-year-old, this summer now it's a 19-year-old. What can we do to change or to help or to assist or to help our young black men to stop this behavior?
Yeah, as I said, the police cannot do it alone. When by the time these incidents come to the police, I like to use the analogy, it's almost like in a game of football, when by the time the striker is one-on-one with the goalkeeper, it's too late. Because, sometimes he misses, sometimes he scores. But in these cases, it's the same way. Sometimes people receive serious stab incidents, they survive, sometimes they don't, as was unfortunate on May 24th. For me, it's Bermuda's like in any other place. The bigger cities of London and the like that are currently dealing with epidemic of knife violence, because obviously to get hold of a gun is a lot more trickier. It's a lot more difficult as well. To carry a gun is a lot more bulky, and knives are easy access, right? You have a knife in every particular house. So for me, the advice for me is parents of those younger men who are carrying knives is obviously to advise them away from carrying knives and the dangers of carrying knives. Obviously, schools, we work very closely with our senior and middle schools to provide education and advice. And I think with their security measures, they're doing quite a good job of reducing the opportunities for kids to carry knives. But I just think it's an overall educational piece. I don't want to really tell persons how to, how they should do their jobs, but I think if you see something, say something. Common sense tells you that if someone's walking around with a knife, then they're not walking around with a knife to cut a cantaloupe or a watermelon. They're walking around with a knife to create some harm, or vice versa, for their protection, which is not advisable.
Are you concerned, my last question, are you concerned that first holiday, beginning of summer, traditionally 5 knife incidents, a firearm seized? Are the police concerned of the trend you see, the increased trend you see?
Yes, we're always concerned of any incident, whether it's the first holiday of the year or the first day of the year. We're concerned any incidents involving firearms, knives, because that demonstrates within our small island community, there's persons that show some type of animosity towards each other, and the first step they're taking towards resolution is picking up a knife or picking up a firearm, as opposed to finding a more simple way or a more amenable way where persons won't get hurt.
Hi, Cooper Stevenson, Bermuda Broadcasting. You said there were 3 additional incidents with knives, so that makes 5 total over the weekend?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. My second question is, have you already had a lot of assistance from the public in terms of the 2 major incidents, well, the one on Front Street and the one at Horseshoe, in terms of those happening in front of a large crowd? Have you had a lot of help from the public?
Yes, we've had a great deal, I would say, more help or more assistance from Horseshoe Bay than Front Street. However, with Front Street having CCTV and the like, we were able to recover some evidence. So as I said at the beginning, I'm really thankful to those persons who have come forward. I've speaking to the investigator before this press conference, just almost a breath of fresh air, where she said it appears that there's a sea change where people are actually calling in to assist the police. So I was, that was really positive news for me, because our message from the police is, if you see something, say something, because that's the only way that we can, or that's one of the best ways that we can resolve these issues.
Do you think that's in response to just the egregiousness of the act, or is it perhaps just a boiling point where we've had so many violent incidents that the public are kind of fed up with it? Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, I hope it's a combination of both, because we did have some indication previously of people becoming desensitized to these particular incidents. And what I always used to say, even way back in 2004, 2005, when I first started doing these press conferences, is if you think that these things don't impact you, eventually one day it's going to come to your doorstep. And we've seen that over the years, where these guys and girls, to a lesser extent, have committed these crimes walking in people's houses and grocery stores, clubs, bars. It's an eclectic mix of places where to go. So we all need to get on board and try to arrest this behavior.
Thank you very much.
Afternoon, State of Interest in the World Gazette. I was just wondering if there was any updates regarding the condition of both really the gentleman who was attacked by a knife, stabbed in the face, and really anyone else involved in any of these incidents. I know there were several, so I was wondering if any of the major ones, particularly the one that took place on Front Street.
Yeah, Front Street, he received a number of stitches, was released quite soon after the incident, and as well as the other incidents that involved knives, everyone's been treated and released, so they didn't spend a lot of time at hospital.
I see. And there were initial reports that this was described as a domestic dispute. Do police still stand by this?
But we're looking into that to find out. It appears that the offender and the victim were known to each other, so that's that's one of the hypotheses.
Okay. And does the police have any descriptions of any suspects that people should be on the lookout for, particularly for the Front Street stabbing?
Yeah, there is a description. I'm not sure if the investigators want to share it now because they have I think they're pretty much sure who the offender is, so it's just a matter of locating that person.
Okay, I see. That is everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
My last question. With the new CCTV cameras in operation, I'm not sure if they are in fully operation, have they been an assistant to the organization, BPS?
Yeah, we've used obviously you will be aware that these systems not fully operational, but the bits and pieces that are operational have greatly assisted us, yes.
What percentage are they online? 65?
I can't give you a number.
But coming soon.
But yes, hopefully in the coming months we'll have 100%. That's what I hope for of that.
Thank you much.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Oh, one last question. Are you sure it's Sandy's and not Santa's?
Well, hey, it's just like when I say St. George and some say St. George is. So it's a debate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just depends how you speak.